Oh, so good to see everyone coming in. Melbourne. So I didn't have time to set up all the lighting, so it might look a little darker today. My apologies for that. Just gonna take it easy on myself and just trust that the message is what's most important. Anybody out there that's a recovering perfectionist, raise your hands. I'm in. And yeah, so just grateful to be here, grateful to lay down the cross of perfectionism, and really the prayer is an interesting thing. A journey with perfectionism. It's like ultimately my cross to bear with perfectionism came at an early age, because when you're a child surviving atrocities, you hope that if you do everything perfect, maybe what's happening will stop in some way, like you have some kind of control over an outcome, which we all know that's a child's mind doing the best it can. And then, I spent a lot of years unraveling that, letting go of perfectionism from that place. And then I started to realize that there was another kind of perfectionism that I was wrestling with, and it wasn't rooted in some like post-traumatic stress disorder or like traumatized place. There was a perfectionism that I wouldn't even say it was necessarily unhealthy. It was just this understanding that I'm always wanting to strive for the highest expression of grace, the highest artistic expression of to communicate how much I love Sophia God, how much I love the heart of humanity, how much I love the beauty way prayer. And so that's been a really interesting journey of shifting from a negative context of perfectionism and realizing that I wouldn't call it perfectionism, there's just this drive for wanting to create and birth an exceptional movement, and to be really pay as close attention to the details as well as the overarching vision as possible. And so I invite you to maybe explore for yourself, if you are recovering from a negative tyrannical form of inner perfectionism, which I survived years and years and years of. What are some of the qualities that you can walk away from as you're healing from that journey that bring a lot of beauty or grace into your life and into the life of others? Like, do you happen to just love to do a good job because at whatever you're doing, because it's going to bring great joy to yourself and others? It's like, is there a way that we can transition from that punishing perfectionism to this love for being exceptional, and how that can be a prayer, that can be in a form of creativity to express your love for Sophia God, express your love for yourself, express your love for your family. It's like, when you've made that amazing, like I got to make dinner for a really good friend last night, and I just got so excited because I don't get to cook that often in my own kitchen, and I was just so excited for her to just sit in my kitchen and just do what I was going to do, and I just wanted every detail to be perfect. And it wasn't because I was trying, and I was really watching myself and witnessing myself in it, and I was like, I'm not doing this because I'm trying to impress her. I'm doing this because I love her so much. I just want all of that love to be in all of the details. And so it's just food for thought, pun intended, right? How can we look at the ways that we have punished ourselves in the past but with these gifts or skills or talents that are innately yours. So like, if you have a talent for doing something really well, but in the past, because of past trauma, it was just like that skill was almost used against you. How can you love yourself into a place where you get to reclaim that gift, skill, or talent for how you want to express yourself in this life, or how you want to bring a greater sense of peace or accomplishment to yourself? When we are in, excuse me, when we are in the Keycode 3 transmission with Green Tara, it's like we are taking we're taking time for a deep examination of our motives, of our root belief systems, not to punish ourselves, but to liberate ourselves from the ways that we've tried to control ourselves in the past, the ways we've tried to control life, the ways that we've tried to avoid pain, the pain of loss. Think through coping strategies of codependency, manipulation, belittling ourselves, abandoning ourselves. If we are willing to sit in that Dakini fire with Green Tara and really be with our own hearts around, what has run us around in the past, what's kept us chasing our tail in the past. That's really what Green Tara is offering as her grace. The grace of her transmission is like, you don't have to chase your tail on this issue anymore. You can slow down, especially during a global lockdown, right? We got time. We got time to look at our inner life right now, and just to really drop in and identify for yourself, not just what you want to let go of, but what parts of you were being used or abandoned against yourself. And what do you want to take back? It's yours. It's just like, I remember almost every gift or skill or talent that I had growing up was used against me or used in some way to take something from me. And now with everything that I watch and witness in my journey with life, my relationship with life, it's just like, oh, here's another thing that I'm really good at, and it's here to bless me, and it's here to bless my loved ones, and it's here to bless this movement. And so I'm not going to let old thoughts punish me out of not accessing this part of myself. And I hope that when I share these personal, sometimes very vulnerable stories about what I'm working with Green Tara to help transform my life and my relationship with life, that in some ways inspiring your own, to understand that we're all some variation of a hot mess in our heroic human journey. That's why I call it a heroic human journey. It's why I've always called it a heroic human journey. It's because it takes guts and courage to really look at these vulnerable places within us that get triggered and taken advantage of and perpetuated against, and just generally not respected or loved by a good portion of this world. And yet, when we begin the process of dropping in, loving our own hearts, learning how to respect, acknowledge who we are, what the gifts are that we came to bring into this world, that actually we are actually living angels, right? We're going to up our self-esteem, we're going to up our confidence, we're going to up level how we view ourselves, and from that space of grace, of that self-love, we realize that it's okay to have our hot mess heroic human journeys. It's like that's where we get to cook in the kitchen with all these ingredients of like, well, who am I amidst this hot mess of a human life? Like, what does my divinity do well? How does my light shine in various shades of darkness here on this earth? And it's like, the more we, throw our arms around ourselves and just say, hey, I love you. I love you in your hot mess life. I love you in the perfection of your life. I love the human facets that are this is a teaching from the Stargate 1 curriculum, actually. This must be a message that we all need right now, because it's just coming out of me. In the Stargate 1 curriculum, I received a teaching at Mount Shasta when I was living in Mount Shasta, and I put it in the Stargating curriculum. And it's like this. Your humanity is continually informing your divinity. Your divinity is continually informing your humanity. Both parts of your existence here are teaching each other. You know, it's one thing to be this holy, perfect, divine being, which you are, up in the worlds of, you know, the higher realms where everybody's floating around in air and doesn't have to eat, and everybody always has salon day hair, and, you know, it's just like everybody loves each other and there's golden light everywhere and nobody's hungry. It's a whole other thing to bring your divinity down to this earth plane and get your, you know, roll up your sleeves, get your hands dirty, get your boots in the ground, get, you know, flex your muscles and explore what does it mean to be this holy being in human form on the earth plane with all these endless X factors in the equation of being a divine being having a human experience. It's like, you just never know what's coming for you in this human journey. It's the ultimate testing ground to really not just master your relationship with your divinity, but to even just explore it, even to even begin to, you know, look at all the facets of the diamond that you are, to closely examine, you know, what does it look like to be a divine being feeling anger in a human body? What does it feel like to be a divine being in a human body that's experiencing hunger or a compulsive disorder or temporary belief that I'm a divine being that could ever possibly be separate from God, and then that's impacting, you know, a marriage or an important family relationship? It's like, we can judge ourselves endlessly, thinking that the human experience somehow cancels out our divinity, or we can slow down and look at reality through the consciousness of our higher self, through the eyes of your golden dragon light body, right? Talked about that yesterday, through the eyes of your higher self spiritual technology. And we can take a really beautiful, just take in the vista of your human life and get to say, wow, I never would have known that my divinity was capable of healing this, or I never would have known that my divinity was capable of feeling that badly within a human body. And I never knew that my divinity had the power to even overcome that chapter in my life and then go on to help so many people. It's like, are you going to put on the boxing gloves about the challenging chapters in your life where you may have struggled with addiction or depression or even suicide or being manipulative or codependent? It's like, are you going to knock yourself out? Or are you going to like shine up those brass medals for surviving those experiences, get your wings up, right? Get your boots on the ground and just be like, whoa, through the eyes of my divinity, I have survived my humanity, and now I can see how I can thrive in my humanity, and now I have a medicine in my heart for others that are doing their best to work through their own understanding of how they might be divine too, which they are, but that's them questioning themselves, right? How can we be way showers of this consciousness? It's only through our human journey.